In the pursuit of truth, we analyze the law. This is Justice Clash 24.
Motion to dismiss. Is that correct?
Yes, I had no motion to dismiss.
And this motion was your first statement to the court was that you indicated the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code was not, at least this violation was not applicable to you because you weren't driving in a commercial sense. Is that correct?
Yes, and I'd like to ask the officer if I was hauling anybody or unloading or loading anything in my car.
Well, I will ask
That would
the
say
officer.
I
Were
was
there,
commercial.
Officer Dickinson, was there anyone else in the vehicle? And well, Mr.
Cousineau, you got it.
I will get it right one of these times, and I'll keep getting it wrong.
Yeah.
I mean no disrespect. Okay, so I think that the officer would grant that you were not driving for commercial profit in any way.
Yes.
At least that's my understanding. Is that correct, officer? Okay. So go ahead with your motion, I suppose, sir. On the basis just that the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Hold on. Enhancement caused by the commercial MVC covered by the traffic law enforcement education.
Imagine standing in front of a judge and saying, "The law doesn't apply to me." Would you ever try that, or do you think this guy's completely lost it? Be honest, what would you do in his place?
Yet in the Michigan Vehicle Code, Act 300 of 1949, an act provides the registration, titling, sale, transfer, and regulations of certain vehicle operations upon the public highways of this. So the Officers Act clearly states that only certain vehicles are liable to the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code. Do you know the vehicles are liable to be regulated? Answer yes or no.
All vehicles. Well, it seems like you're reading from a questionnaire and it's
I'm
a
reading
flow chart
from-
of some sort. The idea is,
It ain't a
here's what I can tell
questionnaire,
you:
it's a court.
all motor vehicles, no matter what their purpose
No,
is. Well,
It doesn't. Michigan's compiled law. The Supreme Court ruled not against that.
what case was that?
GH and MYRY Company versus Stevens ETAL 219 Michigan 332 1922 at 337.
What does it say at 337 there? On page 3037, what does the Michigan Supreme Court say?
It says 337, a highway is a public way for the use of public and general passage and traffic without distinction. Star versus C&A Railroad Company, 4ZAP 597. The restrictions upon the use of only such as are calculated to secure to the general public the latest practical benefit from the enjoyment of the ease, and the inconvenience must be submitted to when they are only such as an incident to a reasonable use under impartial regulation. When the highway is not restricted, it is dedication of some particular mode of use. If that is open to the situation methods and cannot be assumed that these will be the same from age to age, or that new means a making way useful must be executed merely because their introduction may trend to be inconvenience or even to injury of those who continue to use road after the same manner as formerly a highway established for the general benefit of passage and traffic, must admit the new methods of use, whether it's found that the general benefits requires them, and the law should prelude the adoption of the use of the method.
He really just quoted a railroad case from 1922 to fight a traffic ticket in 2025. Do you think he's just confused or trying to sound smarter than the judge? Be honest. What would you say if you were sitting in that courtroom right now?
It would defeat in greater or less degree the purpose for which highway are established.
I am looking at that case. The first thing I would let you know is Do you know what the Grand Rapids GH and MR company is? Right, it's a railroad. So this is a case from 1922, 103 years ago-ish. And it's a case where the Michigan Supreme Court essentially ruling about rules and regulations on a rail that's on like a streetcar, essentially, a rail that's over a highway and an easement. It has nothing to do with a person traveling in a sedan in 2025 on a public roadway. A registration plate on your vehicle is an impediment to the constitutional right to travel. Is that correct?
No.
Okay, what are you telling me then?
Ordinary use on a public road. Nothing
What about
commercial.
I didn't say anything about commercial.
No, I
I
was
said,
just saying
are you trying to tell me that the law that requires you to have a registration plate is illegal because there is a constitutional right to travel?
No.
To travel. I'm familiar with the
Yeah.
argument. It's been made by others. You're not the first and probably not the last to make that argument. I have ruled before, and I would rule
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
The idea behind the thought that it's unconstitutional to require somebody to have a license plate on their car or to have insurance or something like that is an unconstitutional violation of the right to travel is simply not true. The Michigan Court of Appeals has decided that, and frankly, that's a misapplication of the phrase right to travel because, of course, there's nothing that requires you to travel by personal motor vehicle and choose to do so voluntarily. And then if you do so, Michigan requires that you have insurance. It requires that you have a non-expired registration plate. You could still travel to Ohio or any place else you want. You could do it by foot. You could do it by train. You could do it by bus. You could ride in somebody else's car, right? But the idea is
not the right
there
to
is
travel,
the requirement that you have a registration plate and that it be current does not run afoul of the U.S. Constitution's right to freely travel. Now, is there any other argument you want to make about your motion?
Not to
we
travel.
all have the right to use it and the right to the right of the government in Michigan to say you can use this public highway only if you have an operator's license, you have a valid registration plate, and you have a minimum amount of insurance does not run afoul of the Constitution.
Yeah, that's not what I see the law says. That's why.
I understand we may disagree, but frankly, the court interprets the law, and that's why I'm here. So I'm going to deny your motion to dismiss. Do you still wish to have a hearing on the case, or are you willing, on that day you did not have you had an expired registration plate on? Okay, well, here's how this works. It's an informal hearing. So what I'll do is I'll put both of you under oath. The plaintiff in the case, which is the city of Marshall, represented by Officer Dickinson, has the burden of proof. The burden of proof in a case like this is called by a preponderance of evidence. After I put you both under oath, Officer Dickinson, who has the burden of proof, will present her case first. There aren't any rules of evidence that we have to worry about. There is one rule about the presentation, and that is that the court can consider only evidence which is relevant. After Officer Dickinson presents her, going to present your case. Finally, you get to present your case. Again, you can produce anything into evidence. After both sides have presented their cases, I'll render a decision. Either side can appeal that decision within 7 days. Mr. Cousineau, if you were to appeal the decision, then you would have to put up the fines, costs, and fees as a bond pending appeal. Okay, can you both raise your right hands?
I am on 425. I observed Mr. Cousineau traveling on West Michigan Avenue with a green expiration date of July 2024 on his license plate. When I stopped him, he explained that it was in the current registration and that somehow it got missed because he was moving because Ford was buying his house down in Michigan Ave. I explained to him that I had Lean in my computer, which is a law enforcement information network, and it's connected to the Secretary of State and updated current as their system is, and they confirmed that his registration was expired, so I wrote him a citation under the Michigan Motor Vehicle Code 257.255 for expired registration.
Anything further you want me to consider at this point, Officer Dickinson?
No, I didn't have a green sticker, I don't think, on my car. It's a military plate. That's all I have to say, really. Except that,
Officer Dickinson, I guess I don't know what color the plate stickers were or anything else. Do you have a recollection about whether this was a military plate?
I'm looking at my body cam right now. He does,
The
so it
Michigan
does
sort
look
of
a little,
commemorative plate that says that
yeah,
has the
with
like
the
US
Army
Army
decal
okay.
on the right-hand side. So you're right. He had no sticker that I'm seeing at all. So I must have got the July 2024 date from the computer where it says the date that it expired. I'm mistaken. I did not.
Cousineau, are you the registered change whether you're responsible for the civil infraction or not? But I understand why you want to say that, and I understand that predicament. Anything else, Officer Dickinson? Well, I've listened very carefully to the testimony, and it's pretty much undisputed that the defendant was operating a motor vehicle on West Michigan Avenue back on April 25th of 2025. And from both parties, but the officer had testified that she noticed that that plate had been expired. She checked the law enforcement information network. It indicated it was expired. And Cousineau has testified here today. It was a military plate. He had gotten it out of storage and he had an appointment in the future for the Secretary of State so he could make that plate be essentially not expired. Given those facts and those circumstances, I do find you responsible. Really, it cost you $700 to get that.
Yeah, 700 and some dollars. It was over 700.
And you went and paid it?
Yes. Yeah, I paid it when my appointment.
In light of that, I do find you responsible, but instead of assessing $110, what I'll do is assess $90 because I think the Secretary of State penalized you quite a bit financially.
Yes.
But I do obviously have to enforce the law as it's written. So what I'm going to do is indicate that I'm finding you responsible. You'll have to pay $90. Total fines, costs, and fees. Can you have that paid by July 15th, or do you need more time?
Yeah, you got to get to Battle Creek. I moved now, so I'm
ways away. I believe they have a way you can pay it online now, or you can pay it in the mail. If you use a credit card, if you use a credit card, they'll add a credit card. But do you want me to give you till the end of July? Will that help?
Yes. Can they send a check to them, a personal check, or no?
Yeah, you can. Basically, when you get a copy of the judgment, if you have any questions about how to pay it, you can call the district court clerk's office, which is the same number you called originally to say you wanted an informal hearing. Does that make sense?
Yes. Do you have my right address now?
Is that correct? Basically, what's going to happen is I'll draw up a judgment. It'll go out in the mail tomorrow. It'll take a few days to get to you. Just make sure you have it paid off by July.
The ending is the perfect mix of authority and humanity. The judge finds him responsible, but he reduces the fine because the man already paid over $700 in penalties at the DMV. It's a reminder, judges enforce the law, but they also have discretion to show fairness. This balance is what keeps courtrooms from being robotic.
Now this is interesting. The judge still finds him guilty, but actually reduces the fine because he already paid a penalty. Is that mercy or strategy? Do you think the judge was too kind, or just fair and human? Drop your answer. I'm reading every comment.